Welcome back to Go Gaddis Real Estate Radio, right here on AM 920. The answer in this segment of the show, man, isn't it frustrating to get radio silence in a real estate transaction? What should you be doing if you're on the buy side of a transaction? You can't get the listing agent to respond to you and to take action. Also, could it be your dream home, or could it be a hidden headache? A survey tells all. You're listening to Go Gaddis Real Estate Radio. My name is Cleve Gaddis. I've been in real estate in Metro Atlanta for 25 years. I live, eat, breathe, and sleep real estate, and I'm here to make real estate clear and simple and worry-free. And if you want to connect with me, it is so easy. Go to GoGaddisRadio.com. That's GoGaddis Radio.com. You can ask questions that we answer on air or off air. You can make comments, positive or negative. You can share your ideas with us. You can request we do research on your neighborhood and discuss whether or not you have a particular advantage as a homeowner in a particular neighborhood. We can do that in our neighborhood spotlight. And you can subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel. We love for people to subscribe to our podcast and to watch videos on our YouTube channel. So you finally find the one, that house that you just been dying to buy. You make the offer, your heart is racing, you can hardly stand it, and then the worst thing that can possibly happen, in my opinion, happens, and you hear nothing. Today we're tackling the emotional roller coaster of being left hanging by a silent listing agent. We have a listener question from Jonah in Peachtree Corners. Says he's a first-time home buyer and he's confused. Says his agent sent in an offer days ago and the listing agent hasn't responded at all. Is this normal? And what can my agent do about it? And Jonah, these are really, really, really good questions. And unfortunately, this happens more commonly than I would like to admit in real estate. And I don't want any of my fellow real estate professionals, because I know there are plenty who listen to the show, to think I'm talking negatively about them, because there are some amazing, some fantastic agents who communicate so very well with all the parties involved, and they take their role in the transaction, they take it very seriously, and it's not that they're perfect, but they certainly do everything they're supposed to, and they don't drop the ball. They don't leave people hanging. But I recognize there is a special kind of stress that comes from waiting on a reply to an offer on a home that you were 2 days ago scared to death to actually make an offer, and now you've fallen in love with the home and you've made an offer, but you're not hearing back from the listing agent or from the seller, and it's keeping you up at night. So here are my suggestions for you when another agent goes silent, kind of a step-by-step guide for you as a buyer or a buyer's agent. Number one, start with a quick, simple check-in. I always tell my buyers, sometimes silence is just timing. So first, I'll reach out to the other agent with a quick text, a call, and an email asking for a status update. I'll keep it short and easy to respond. And now that I'm thinking of my list, I want to start with something earlier. And that is, I am not going to submit my offer to another agent without calling to confirm the agent has received that offer. Never have, never will. Because when I send an email to somebody and I assume they've got it and it is registered and the things are flowing through the system the way they're supposed to, that assumption can cost me a lot. So I don't want to assume that the offer has been received. I want to verify that the offer has been received. I'll also document every attempt to communicate. I'll keep records of each message and voicemail and email so we have a clear timeline. And this will protect you in case the silence affects your contract deadlines, meaning the time limit of the offer. It doesn't mean we can do anything about it, but I'll certainly keep up with it. If push comes to shove, I will give the other side a very clear and firm deadline, meaning if I don't hear any feedback from them, I'll send a professional follow-up. Please provide an update or a response by tomorrow at X p.m. so that we can keep the transaction on track. The reality is that as a buyer, if you want to control what the seller is doing, the only way you can really totally do that is, or attempt to do that, is by being willing to walk away. And in many cases, and it sounds like, based on this particular situation, and this is Jonah again in Peachtree Corners, it sounds like, you love the home and you want to buy the home. And so you don't really want your agent to threaten that you're going to walk away if you don't get a response in a certain time frame. So you really want your agent building bridges, not blowing up those bridges. You want the agent to say things to the other agent like, hey, I think this is a perfect house for my client, and I'd love to figure out how to get this deal to come together, but we're not hearing back from you, and that has me concerned. I might even, as an agent, leave a voicemail that says, hey, I haven't heard from you, and I'm actually kind of worried about you. Would you at least call me and let me know you're okay? I've had to use that many times in my career, and pretty much every time I get a response. Make sure you check your contract dates and contingencies. While I'm waiting on someone else to respond, I'll review your deadlines, your inspection, financing, appraisal to make sure that silence won't put us at risk. In this case, you've gotten an offer you're not hearing back. It's not possible for it to really cause any problems because we don't have a particular contract. Now, this is what I will do if I have given them a reasonable amount of time to respond, and a reasonable amount of time to respond is probably a day. Meaning if I submit an offer on Monday evening, if I haven't heard from them by Tuesday evening, Wednesday morning, I'm probably going to reach out directly to their broker. Every brokerage in the state of Georgia has what's called a qualifying broker. Every office has a managing broker, someone who is responsible for it. I can go into the listing service and I can see who that company has designated as their managing broker for that particular office. I'll have all of their contact information. So I'll reach out to them and tell them exactly what's going on, because one of the things that is important from a real estate licensing standpoint is that all offers be presented to sellers as quickly as possible. And all offers must be submitted unless the seller has given them specific instructions not to submit any additional offers. So I'll reach out to that managing broker or the broker and see what we need to do to keep that communication moving forward. Sometimes it isn't the agent at all. In many cases, you're not hearing back from the other agent because there are other things going on, meaning they're selling the property for an institutional seller, for example, that takes a couple of days to respond, or they're selling it for a relocation company, or they're selling something for an investor who's out of state. If there's going to be a delay, there's going to be a delay. I just want to be able to understand what exactly is going on. If needed, sometimes I'll be happy to fuss at the other agent. Sometimes I'll be happy to remind them that, hey, this is not the way this is supposed to be handled. We need to move this forward as quickly as possible. And if there's something I can do to help you, I am happy to do that. But most importantly, I will keep my clients updated every single step of the way. So when you have an agent on the other side who is not responding and it's causing you a lot of grief, my suggestion is to really dig into it and figure out what it is that is causing them not to respond. I have had some situations where people have had a death in the family or some trauma that has happened in their family that it totally made sense why we were not hearing back from them. But we can't just sit there for 4 or 5 days when our clients are waiting on an answer and then figure it out. If we can't figure out what's happening in the first day, day and a half, we need to reach out to a broker or somebody else in that brokerage who can help us move this process forward. Jonah, I hope that answers all your questions. If you have additional questions, the number for me is 770-497-0000. Maria in Norcross submitted a listener question. She keeps hearing about home surveys or just surveys, but she really doesn't understand why one is necessary and when do buyers need a survey and what do they actually tell you. Imagine you found the home of your dreams, you've signed the contract, and you can almost see yourself moving in, and then a survey comes up or a survey issue comes up. Suddenly you got questions about boundaries and easements and hidden issues that can turn excitement into anxiety. And a survey is a physical drawing of the lot lines of the property, including any easements that are on the property. So let's say it's a square lot. They'll give you the exact dimensions of the front line, the locations, the back line, the line to the left, the property line to the right. It'll show you where everything is. And in many cases, if you have a survey, they'll also put pins at the corners of the property. Now today, in the past, lenders or title insurance companies would require you to get a survey when you bought a home. It's not that way anymore. You can buy a home without a survey. If a home is in a platted subdivision or a neighborhood, and you can generally figure out where the lot lines are, you might not need to spend the $450 or $550 or $600 on a survey. You might just move forward without that. But if the lot lines of the property are extremely important to you and you have something like the driveway looks a little bit off, or this corner of the house looks closer to the lot line than that corner, oh my gosh, this fence could be on their property, or that amazing oak tree, I want to know if it's on my property or the neighbor's property, then my suggestion is that you need to get a survey. And if you get a survey and problems come up, I say good. And I know, Maria, You're probably going, well, that's a very insensitive answer. But if you have a problem with a survey, it can be fixed prior to closing. You cannot get it fixed after closing, more than likely, without having agreement from people around you. And my goal for you is to know everything you need to know prior to closing on the property. So don't be afraid of a survey. I generally, when I buy a property, I get a survey so I understand exactly what I am buying. Are there issues on pretty much all of them? Yes. This is not where I thought it was, or this easement is a little bit bigger, or whatever it is. If you're looking to sell your home anytime in Metro Atlanta, north, south, east, or west in 2026, we want to make sure you get the upside. The upside is, what way of selling the home is right for you? Should you get an all-cash offer and close quickly? Should you sell it as is, where is? Should you make some improvements and then sell it, or should you buy your new home before you sell your existing home? Each one of those comes with different dollars and cents attached to it. And we'll give you the answers to all 4 of those options in black and white through our Upside program. Go to GoGaddisRadio.com, click on the Upside, put in a little information. We'll reach out to you, and I will review your situation with you myself. We're going to take a quick break. When we're back, MLS books used to be the size of phone books. There were keys you had to pick up in person, believe it or not. How did agents survive doing real estate 20 plus years ago? Well, I happen to have some insight on that, and I'll share it with you as soon as we're back. Stick with us.